keep telling myself this is just a regular hospital, that the sterile smell of antiseptics, the starched linens, and the fluorescent lighting are nothing but the mundane traits of healing. But something sinister lurks beneath the orderly facade, something I can't quite put my finger on. I am not supposed to be here. I try to convey this daily to the doctors. If you can hold these otherworldly beings with their too calm demeanors and eyes that seem void of human warmth, doctors. I am Eloise Montgomery, by the way, a woman who once led a comfortable life with a loving husband, until death did us part, way too soon, if you ask me. Since then, solitude became my unsolicited companion, until one shadow-laden evening, I found myself waking up here, in this facility. They claim I'm ill, afflicted by a malady so rare it has no name, needing an urgent operation that they're all too eager to perform. The nurses glide through the halls in near silence, their pale blue uniforms almost glowing. Their conversations are always hushed, filled with terms I can't comprehend, their eyes rarely meeting mine. And the doctors, they're worse. They talk to me as if piecing together a puzzle within my mind, one I never granted them access to. You must understand, Mrs. Montgomery, your condition is dire, Dr. Klein often repeats with a steadfast look, one that I'm starting to loathe. But what condition? Why can't I remember the events preceding my abrupt admittance to this place? Please, you have to believe me. There's nothing wrong with me, I plead, my voice strangled by a sincere terror of the unknown. Yet, doubts gnaw at me. Are my memories trustworthy? Is my mind my ally or my foe in this sterile nightmare? My days are a sinister loop. I take sedatives against my will, only to wake up in the dead of night, sweating, my heart racing with eerie whispers reverberating from the dimly lit corners of my room. Voices speak of a looming operation, the details of which they keep from me, a void of knowledge that frightens me more than any scalpel could. The night they came for me was different. The whispers grew urgent, insistent. My skin crawled as I beheld the figure at my bedside, a doctor, or perhaps a shade donning a doctor's guise. I couldn't move. A relentless grip held me in place. I could only watch as he traced invisible incisions across my body with his cold, spectral fingertips. You needn't worry, he cooed, with a voice at once hollow and melodic. Once we begin, everything will cease to trouble you. No! Desperation clawed at me, a desperate urge to flee this macabre theater. I must leave before they can start whatever grotesque procedure they have planned for me. Escape is imperative. I rehearse my confrontations, casting myself as undeniably lucid in the face of their irrational diagnosis. With each rehearsal, an intrinsic impulse propels me toward a hidden truth, one that lingers out of reach, masked by the unnatural fog that infests this hospital. Will I unveil the reality of this institution and my alleged illness, or am I condemned to succumb to the surgery of this shadow realm? The thought alone can chill the blood, but I resolve to fight against it every night. I beseech you, reader, to witness my story and remember my plight, for I fear my time wanes thin. If this tale is my final testament, know that I did not yield easily, and that against this otherworldly imprisonment, I rebelled with every fiber of my being. The nights blurred into one endless vigil, an unyielding cycle of wakefulness and dread. They were no longer marked by the conventional phases of sleep, but by the cyclic return of the shadowed doctor, whose visits grew more frequent and intense. My room, once a sanctuary of solitude, became a theater of psychological warfare, with the walls seemingly closing in, whispering secrets meant to unnerve and dismantle my resolve. In the depths of one particularly harrowing night, as the clock's hands ceased their march in defiance of time itself, I sensed a shift in the air, a crack in the facade of my tormentor's confidence. It was then I realized that my fear, although a chain, could become a weapon. If I could but see through the veiled threats and the spectral surgeries, perhaps I could find a way to turn their game upon themselves. Armed with this nascent defiance, I prepared to confront my apparition, not with pleas or supplications, but with the steely resolve of one who sees through a magician's illusion. The next visit would be different. I would demand answers, seek to crack the enigma of my imprisonment, and challenge the very foundation of this nightmarish realm. This opening provides a setup for the atmosphere, the main character, and the core conflict. Please note that you would need to continue the story in the same vein, steadily building suspense, revealing details, and escalating tension toward a climax that fits with the mystery and fear established here. The shadowed figure was punctual in its haunting ritual, appearing just as the world outside my window surrendered to the inky clutches of night. Tonight, however, the air between us crackled with a new energy, mine born of a burgeoning resolve, and his, perhaps, of the scent of an impending challenge. "What are you?" I demanded, my voice less a tremble and more a weapon forged in the flames of my newfound defiance. The room chilled, the darkness seeming to thicken in anticipation of the confrontation. The shadowed doctor, a wraith in the dim light, paused, a silent acknowledgement of the shift in our perennial game. "A guide," it responded, its voice a mixture of amusement and something indescribably ancient. "To the truths you bury deep within yourself." This exchange marked a turning point, not in my captivity, but in my understanding of it. The shadowed doctor, once a harbinger of dread, now became a puzzle, a riddle wrapped in the enigma of this endless night. Each visit, each cryptic exchange, became a piece of a larger, more intricate puzzle I was determined to solve. Little did I know, the answers I sought would challenge the very fabric of my reality, leading me down a path from which there was no return. One evening, as the clock tolled the witching hour, the figure appeared with an intensity that bordered on urgency. "The time nears," it intoned, its voice a hollow echo that filled the room, "for you to have the surgery." Puzzlement wrestled with my resolve. What did this enigmatic entity want me to do? The questions multiplied, each more perplexing than the last. The air thickened with an anticipation so tangible, it felt as if the very room anticipated my decision. I faced the shadowed doctor, my heart a tumult of fear and defiance, but curiosity anchored me to the spot. "Surgery?" I echoed, the word foreign, yet filled with an imminent sense of destiny. "What kind of surgery?" My voice no longer wielded the sharpness of earlier defiance. Instead, it threaded through the darkness with hesitant intrigue. The figure's response was a mere whisper, yet it reverberated with a gravity that seemed to warp the very space around us. "A surgery of the soul, it murmured. An operation to excise the barriers within, to unveil the truths you seek so fervently. A pause, as if allowing the weight of its words to sink into the marrow of my being. But be warned, the shadowed guide continued, its form blurring at the edges, as though diffusing into the gloom. What is revealed cannot be unseen. Are you prepared to see the world and yourself as they truly are? I awoke with a start, drenched in a cold sweat, the remnants of the dream clinging to me like a second skin. The shadow's words echoed in my mind, a haunting refrain that threatened to unravel the fabric of my reality. The notion of a surgery of the soul both terrified and intrigued me. Could such a procedure truly reveal the truths I sought? Or would it simply open Pandora's box, unleashing chaos upon my already tumultuous existence?